I had a chance to have a terrible morning. Had a really good chance to, and I did not take the bait. And then I thought about today's topic, and it was just like, whoa. You know, I thought about that after. Like, I could have really held on to that, really could have dwelled on it. And I thought about it, and what I'm really ready to let go of is my limited perception of myself. I've been holding on to that for a minute, and I'm talking about all kinds of things that have irritated my own growth spiritually. I'll share one. There was a time, a period in my life where every email that was coming into my box, in my inbox, wasn't really positive. It was either we about to repossess your car, or you late on your payments, we're taking your license, or just nothing good was coming through that inbox. And it got to the point to where it was actually starting to be bad for my mental health to even check my emails. Like, to the point to where my family's like, hey, maybe you need to take a break and just sit vigil with yourself. And I did that. And what I realized is I got very used to that. And what became the reverse effect was, for a while, I've had anxiety about looking at my inbox. And I just decided today, literally today, it's time for you to have a different expectation when you check your emails, homie. It's time to expect something new. That was then, this is today. And we all have trauma. We all have things to remember. We all have stuff that's like shook us up. We're like, I don't ever want to see that again. But that's part of the growth, right? It takes the rain and the sunshine to make the flower grow. I love the sunshine part. Just, we don't got to rain on me though, right? And when that rain was coming in, that just that uncomfortable growth, I allowed myself to take a break from it. And I'm realizing now, dang it, it is time to stop hiding from that. It's time to expect something new when we look at our emails. I'm talking to myself. So what I'm ready to let go of today, when we talk about let it go, my limited perception of myself. It's time to let that go. The song I thought of automatically, hate to be cliche, but Erykah Badu's Bag Lady, right? Bag lady. You gonna hurt your back dragging all them bags like that. Talking baggage today. And we all have luggage that we can let go. I don't want to miss that bus that I'm supposed to get on. It's taking me to wherever I'm supposed to go. But with all that baggage, come on, I'm not going to make it to that bus. And when I get there, they're not going to let me on because other people got to sit. So please, I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Anybody who feels compelled to speak, how you be and what are you ready to let go of?
I'll speak.
Okay, I'll speak. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kathy Mathis. And what I have been working on in the past few months is my confidence in regards to feeling comfortable with public speaking, feeling comfortable and confident, within myself to know that my thoughts and my energy are just as good as anyone else's. So I have been in prayer and doing, so I can succeed in doing that. I've been reading in church, but I'm just ready for my confidence to catapult. And I know it's a process. And I'm very glad that I have a supportive team at church or at the center to help me along and to guide me when I'm not at my highest. So it's really my confidence level, whether it's professional or sometimes personal, depend on what it is. That's what I'm working on.
Ashe, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate that, Miss Kathy.
My name is Drake. Confidence is a good one. That's something I'm working on too. This past I'd be real good. I'd be real good because I had lost touch for a little bit with getting used to change. That's the one thing guaranteed in life, I think, is change. And I got comfortable with being comfortable instead of comfortable with changing. And it was costing me my happiness lately. And so I got rid of what was causing me the unhappiness and got something that was causing me more happy. But change. I like to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Nice. Thank you, Drake. And while we're all just sitting with the check-in questions, how you be and what does let it go mean to you, or what are you ready to let go of? I also want to just talk about my job and the work I do. I do outreach in San Francisco's unhoused community. And we have a lot of substance abuse and just a lot of traumatic things going on. And last week, I got to Narcan somebody for the second time in my life. And on one hand, it was a very positive experience because I saved somebody's life. You know, this man was actually on his way out, you could tell. But we all know the effects. If you don't know, let me stop saying that. If you don't know the effects, so as soon as the medicine hits the bloodstream, you know, the person goes into withdrawal automatically. And so man started screaming in excruciating pain, right when he came to. And I had been holding on to that experience for a long time. Such an empath sometimes, just, you know, the things he was yelling and the pain and just all of that. And I had to call a practitioner about it. And that's what we talked about in the session was, you know, you get to trust that whatever this person is seeking, whatever path they're on, we get to trust in that. That doesn't mean that we won't scrape our knees along the path and bump our head and look stupid as hell. All of that's gonna happen for sure. But what it also means is that it only works to the greater good of who you are. We are here to continue expanding forever, just like the universe, which means that every experience we have is for that. I get to trust that. I get to let go of whatever my preconceived idea of what a perfect life is. I get to let that go. It's not always easy, which is why I love these Wednesday nights, because doing these and hearing the amazing things y'all say gets me back on point. But honestly, like, I struggle with this regularly. Of course, I have my own way of how I think stuff's supposed to look. Of course I do. And I get to be reminded that I get to let that go. To worry is to doubt God, period. Taking these hot socks off. You know, I'm not too big on change either. Like, I can't stand it. I don't like to be bored either. That's what's funny. It's like, I don't like to be bored, but if I'm used to the boredom, I'd rather that, you know, even if it's like, because I'm used to it. I know how to do it. It's like, and I remember talking to my son. He's a gamer now. It's my fault. I turned him out on all the games, you know, long as his grades are good, I don't mind him playing. But I was watching him play this Dragon Ball Z game, and finally I'm like, son, like, don't you want to use another player? Don't you want to try another mode? Don't you want to get to another level? And you know, as soon as I said that, I heard the voice of God just like, boy, stop. You're the same thing. You know, you like the predictability. And I do. but at the same time, I want to advance. I want to expand. I do. But in order to do that, I got to be okay with the fact that stuff is not going to stay the same. So then I got into it like, okay, so does that mean I get to love the excitement and welcome the excitement? Or can I just go through life just kind of like, okay, I'm willing to change, but still know that I would rather be comfortable, you know, like, do I have to be that just daredevil person spiritually and just, yeah, bring it on? Because I'm not always in the mood to do, come on, y'all, I'm 41. I'm not, I'm not always in the mood to do that. I'm not. I love how honest I could be here too. Spirit Uncensored to me, it's like, if you've tuned into this, then you're probably that person in your circle of friends or your family who says something deep and profound that people aren't ready to hear. And then you like, oh man, I shouldn't even said that, right? Like, I just feel like everybody here is that person where you have this view of life that people are not ready to hear yet. And whenever you kick it to the world, it's like, and that's me. Like, sometimes you just want to fit in, right? It's just sometimes you want to fit in. I'm talking to me. Let me just stop saying y'all. Sometimes I just want to fit in and be normal. And life keeps showing me, homie, you not. No, I don't try to be weird, y'all. I really don't. I really do try to be cool and fit in. I'm weird. I can't help it. I'm good at faking it for about an hour, and then eventually you're gonna be like, wait a minute. I'll be like, I didn't say I was cool. You assume that. But I get to let that go too. And I'm talking about how much I've overanalyzed myself, have a great conversation with somebody on the way home. And then on the way home, thinking about everything I said and wondering if I said too much. Stop it, let it go. It was a beautiful exchange.
Brother Luchan, in my house, we don't call it weird. We call it limited edition.
I like that. See? I love it. These are those autographed Space Jam Jordans right here. That's what you're looking at. Limited edition.
I vibe with everything that you're saying, Luchan. I didn't know I needed to hear all this today, but I'm grateful that you're saying it. I would love to check in if that's all right with you.
Yes, please.
I also work in the unhoused population, and we had a big COVID outbreak over this week, and having a big COVID outbreak in a homeless shelter is kind of the worst because like there's nowhere for anyone to quarantine. It's not as if like people have their own rooms and things like that. And so we had to move half of the people from the shelter into a motel. And the other issue is that when I say that we had this outbreak, the majority of the people who got sick were our staff. So not only is it like having this challenge of quarantining youth, but it's also wanting to ensure that the limited staff that we still have are safe. And so what that has meant for me is that I've worked from home all week, and working from home absolutely resonates with me. Luchan, I'm so sorry with what you went through with Narcan. I have never administered Narcan. I've never had to save anyone's life on the job. And I cannot imagine what it's like to have an experience like that. And I think part of the reason for why I am good today is because I've been working from home. I've been, having the comforts of my own home. And on top of that, what my job as a case manager consists of is mostly just driving youth around to places where they need to go. It's I could make an effort to trust that they're going to get to their mental health services appointments on time, but the odds of that happening is super low. So, depending on the appointments, they get to reach out to me and ask, can you take me here? Can you take me there? And I really decide based on how their life is going, based on decisions that they're making, whether I will give them that ride or whether I won't. The kind of youth who are always asking me for a ride, they've got to figure out other alternatives. And the kind of youth that are just struggling to get to things like mental health care, to things like their housing appointment. Like I want to make sure that they are there so that they're no longer living on the street. So I always prioritize mental health and housing, no questions asked, you know, no, nothing around that. But sorry, I'm being called. So I'm gonna go see what's going on in my house and why I'm being called so many times. And I'm gonna check in later, but y'all check in and I'll be right back.
Anybody else wants to check in? The questions are right there in the chat. Number 1 is how you be. Number 2, what are you ready to let go of? Or what does the topic of today, let it go, mean to you? And you're also welcome to just sit and listen if you like to. I'm also ready to let go of the fact I can't grow a beard like you, Dre. Just got to let it go. I've been trying to for years, man. I can't do it. It gets all patchy on one side.
You got to keep it moisturized and just trust the process. That's what I've done.
Okay, I'll try it. I can grow a chin strap. I can grow a goatee.
This is my Drabraham Lincoln look.
The let it go for me has been something I've worked on for umpteen years. I'll be 85 next month, so I've had lots of experience of learning how to let things go. Biggie was fear. That's the biggie. You know, from way back, from my first making a decision that was life-changing for myself and my children. It was the fear that kept me from letting go of what the issue was. And I finally was able to get the courage up and step over the line and do it and make the choice and make the decision. And every time that I do that over the years, I've learned it becomes easier and easier and easier to let it go because I have such trust and such faith now, and that it is absolutely going to be just fine. It's going to be even better than any way I can imagine how the outcome is going to be. So I've stopped trying to force that, you know, to make it be the way I think it should be. And, you know, and it's all going to be better. Absolutely is going to be better. You know, there are times when I think, oh, I've done this treatment and it works. Boy, I can manifest and that's all going to work. Sometimes it gets a little bit different than what I had in mind. But then I have to let go of that and go, you know, spirit's got it, you know, spirit's got it, you know, and I hear that a lot of times. I just hear that, hey, God's got it. Let it go. And, you know, and it sure makes it easier. You know, I started with Reverend Petra back in 1998 in Dallas. And I want to tell you, if you want to learn how to let it go, that's the way to do it. But it was, you know, I mean, finding science of mind, you know, really ooches that along and helps you with it, helps me. But that's the biggie for me. It's having learned to let it go and continuing to learn how to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy.
I just want to just go on top of what Sandy said. You know, letting go of my fear of being confident. I just would like to really tell my team or my church members that, you know, I appreciate you guys supporting me. I really appreciate you guys for pushing me even when I don't want to do it. On the outside, sometimes it looks great, but on the inside, you know, of course, is like you said, that's the problem area. And because this has been going on for so long, sometimes I think what I need is, you know, more guidance on how to let it go. Because I feel confident that I can do it, but sometimes I think my method may not be as effective as I would like it to be.
I love that, Kathy, that you asked that. I'm just gonna like jump in and answer what it looks like for me. And what it looks like for me is being present with my feelings. So like right now is a perfect example. I was in the middle of check-in. My fiance knows that Spirit Uncensored is the spiritual center where I serve as a senior minister. And while she was calling me in the middle of it, it was when I went up there, nothing was the answer that I got. So like the fact that let it go is our theme was the perfect opportunity for remember not to be irritated by that. Like, and so in this moment, being present in this moment, I have the opportunity to just let it go. But however many times that it comes up in my mind, I have a choice. I could either feed it, give it attention, make a big story about it, get mad about it all over again, that thing that happened in the past, or I can notice the fact that I've done this and let it go. So what I would have said in my check-in before I got interrupted was that right now I'm writing a book called Making Peace with Your Inner Shit Talker. And it's 90 days, 5-minute practice around identifying the existence of your shit talker and letting it go. And what's so funny about that is last week, the theme for Spirit Uncensored was your inner shit talker. And one of my chapters is called Let That Shit Go. And what Luchan was saying about being weird or different, being a reverend and making peace with your inner shit talker, it's the kind of thing that reverends don't usually title their books with. You know, non-reverends can do things like that, but reverends don't get to talk like that. And I stepped out of my own comfort zone of just believing in myself. So that's why I needed to hear what Luchan said about having confidence. And I believe that you said something about that along those lines as well, of recognizing that this is a book that is meant to be written and knowing that regardless of how the world feels about what ministers should or shouldn't be doing, that because it was called on my heart to write this book, to figure out a path to publishing. And right now, what I'm thinking about right now is like developing a program around it, like having a self-guided version so I can get feedback, and groups or like one-on-one. So offering that tiered offering. So I've been all in my head and excited about the fact that that draft is done and I have ideas about what to do with it next. But saying all this to say, like to answer your question, for me, my answer is that the best way to let it go is in the moment when you notice it, and not allowing that inner shit talker to say things like, oh, you should have let this go by now, or, you know, whatever it is, like whatever it is that you need to know about a situation, give your intuition opportunity to articulate what that is, what it is that needs to be known. The thing that just pissed me off just now is a thing that needs to be released. But something that's bigger, like say she interrupts me all the time during, if it's weighing on me, what that means is that I've got to have a real conversation with her. Like, look, when I'm in this, you really need to respect that this is where I am and this is what I'm doing. But it's not about holding on to anger about the moment. It's just recognizing what is mine to do, what action is mine to take. But festering in anger is never the answer. So it's just doing the best that I can in the moment to move on, not forgetting it, not releasing it, just simply knowing that it's not worth my time and attention anymore. But I'd love to hear other people's answers. And Luchan, I give you an opportunity to weigh in. I would love to hear other people's thoughts about how do you let things go especially when it's difficult and when it's needling at you.
I'm glad that we even went into that. It's how the universe, we know there's one mind. I was literally like, a great thing to ask would be how to let it go, right? Because I think the people who love us are always quick to say that, like, oh, just let it go. And, okay, but how? I'm in the middle of a crisis right here. How? I know for me, I have to get it off my chest first. I don't want people to start affirming God and the universe when I'm in it. I need to address it. I need to curse. I need to scream. I need to cry. And once I do that, I can then meditate. I can then, listen to something funny and be like, oh, I got this. I can then listen to some motivational music. But I have to have my fit first. I think that being a human being is a very vulnerable experience already. And to go through life trying to deny that experience, to me, it's just impossible. Yes, I know that, there is no duality and God is all there is. I get that. But I'm also a spiritual being having a human experience. And so I need to address it first. And from there are so many avenues. My favorite, though, is to listen to something motivational, then to go on a walk. And then right when I come back from the walk, then humor is the theme after that. I need to laugh. So I have my fit. I listen to something inspiring. I take a Jesus walk. And when I come back to the Holy Land, it's time to laugh. What better way to prove to the universe that I'm over it than to laugh at it? That's my method.
So I notice every time I'm gonna break my anonymity because I always do anyway. So I'm a recovering addict. And one of the things I've learned to do in recovery was pick up the phone, whether things are going good or bad. I call one person every day. And what that allows me to do is when I get in that crisis mode, most of the time, I'll say it again, most of the time, it's easy for me to pick up that phone. And the reason I said most of the time, because I just went through a spell about a week ago, and I was going through something, didn't know what, but I started to realize I'm kind of depressed here. And my wife goes, has you called anybody? So I picked up the phone and made some calls, and what do you know? I got through it. I feel better, and I every morning I send out text. Whether or not I'm doing bad or not, I send out these texts every morning to a bunch of people, and that helps me get through those crisis modes even quicker.
Is your hand up, Miss Kathy?
I find for me over the years, as years have gone on, that I used to just and keep it all in and put on the face and keep going and swallow it all, whether it was fear, anger, hurt, no matter what it was. I was not about to let it surface. I was taught to be a nice girl, a good girl, until you have these visions that are put on you of what that means. So all of that builds up until I had to finally start to acknowledge it. And over time, and that's really what, getting into science of mind way back in California even helped me start to look at me and pay attention to what's going on, up here and listen to myself. It's like at this now in my life, I can stand beside myself and I can listen to me and I can question me and say, what in the world are you thinking? Why did you do that? Think about that. And I can bring myself up to the point where I can handle it. I can think about it and I can be calm about it in a real way and handle it, so to speak, in a way that's, I don't know, I guess it's peaceful, but it's the acknowledgement of myself, and what I do. I used to go to Al-Anon, and that was the first time I really had to look at me and my participation in what was going on in my life. And I've learned to do that and do that and do that and do that. It helps, you know, but it took a while to learn how to step back and go, hey, get off the pity pot, you know, and look at yourself and think about it, you know, and let it go.
Thank you, Sandy. I also want to, at this time, acknowledge that we, hold on, right here, there it is. Right here in the chat, we have our Spirit Uncensored link to donate. We are a nonprofit organization, and we would love your support, especially when you feel like you are being spiritually fed here. This is a community we are looking to grow. This is a really amazing ministry. I'm so glad Reverend Karen reached out to me. Something Karen and I both keep laughing about. It's going to change very soon, but we haven't even met in person. We, you know, our friendship is, you know, all from online, and this just amazing ministry that found me, that she brought to me, is something that I have no words for. I love that we have a platform to where we can talk as freely as we want, and a community where we all just participate and we sharpen each other. It's not just one person talking at anyone. I really love that. And I know that it is here to grow. And so if you are looking to be a part of the growth, please, you have the link right there in the chat, and we do appreciate your support. Anybody else want to talk about ways to let it go? Because I've been listening to all of them and taking notes, actually. So if it seems like I'm being rude and scrolling, I'm really taking notes. Dre said, call somebody. I heard everything you said, Sandy. So thank you, y'all. See, we have new people who just tapped in. If you look in the chat, the check-in question is how you be. Second question is, what does the title Let It Go mean to you? Or what you already let go of? And we asked the third question just now, which is, what are some ways that you choose to let it go? Another thing I like to do is write in my journal. That's the fun stuff, because then I don't have to feel guilty about all the stuff I said. I can say whatever I want. It's all in that journal, you know, and it really helps me to let go of what's on my heart, because we do need that space for us to be human. We need that. That's important. Yes, I see Bonnie.
Hey, how you doing, Luchan? I think, yeah, my hand's up. And sorry to be joining a little late. Took me a while to figure out what I was doing this morning, this evening, afternoon, whatever. I think letting go is, for me, first of all, is I have to decide. I have to choose that I'm going to put this away, that recognize it. You know, I don't have any control here. And it's usually the things that I don't have control over that I have to let go. Those are the things I try to hang on to longer than anything else. So letting it go, first of all, is a decision to just be at peace no matter what, you know, and to recognize that I don't have to do this. I can let my higher power, whatever you want to regard it as, I can let spirit take over, and I can follow. I don't have to lead. I don't have to push. I don't have to shove. And most of all, I don't have to have my way. I don't have to have my way. The most important thing for me is to remember, you know, I didn't start this. I'm not going to finish it. I didn't start it, and I'm not going to finish it. So my way is not necessarily the way. In fact, it's probably not the way. My way is not the way. If I can remember, my way isn't it. It's not it. And I'm a know-it-all. I'm a know-it-all. I know everything. I know everything. You know, my girlfriend and I used to argue about which one of us was really Queeniverse, okay? One of us was Queeniverse. I always thought it was me. I'm not Queeniverse. I am not the Queeniverse. So I decide that, okay, remember who you are. I'm here. I'm here to participate. I'm here to support. I'm here to let go. I'm here to be part of the stream. You know, I'm not here to be in charge. I'm just not here to be in charge. If I try to keep remembering that. So this morning, my son woke me up and he needed to go to the hospital. He was short of breath. And, you know, I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge. You know, his lungs have been keeping him, you know, how much we breathe, that this is an involuntary thing. Nobody sits up and plans every day how their lungs are going to function or how any body system functions. We let that go. We don't try to hang on to that because we already know we're not in charge of our bodies. There are certain systems of our bodies we don't know. So, you know, I took him, dropped him off. We said our prayers, and we're fine. They tell me I have to remember to be where my feet are. Stay in my body and be where my feet are. Everything else is what I imagine it to be, and I want to imagine it good. I think about it as good. So far, so good.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you
I love you.
too. Yeah, Dre, the Serenity Prayer. That one has got me through so much. So much. And then I think of the story. I didn't grow up reading the Bible, but my mom and all her siblings are familiar with it. And my mom tells me a story where Jesus and you know his team, his disciples, they were all about to go heal this girl who was ill. I think she was having seizures or whatever. And someone in the crew was talking from fear. Well, what if this doesn't work? And what if this and what if this? And Jesus had tell him, you can't come, homie. You don't get to come. We're working with a consciousness here that's faithful. It's nothing against you, but you don't get to come. It's okay. And what that was to me was let it go consciousness. Ain't no what if over here. The only answer to what if is God. No matter what it looks like, no matter how frightening, no matter how painful, God is always the answer to your what if. So whatever I'm holding on to, I get to let go of it. And let's be honest, it always ends up being a lot more beautiful than we imagined anyway. Not always right at first, but when the dust settles, when the tears dry up, when the screaming and when all that stops, we get to look at how beautiful it is. That's why I love the art of freestyling. The art of freestyling is beautiful because guess what? For years, I would always be trying to think of what it was I wanted to say when I grabbed the mic, and I would always mess up. And finally, my homeboy said, you have to stop thinking. Nobody is that good to memorize a whole freestyle in their mind and then say it perfectly on the mic. Just start talking, homie. Whatever you're holding on to, forget about it. And once we start talking, once we take that step, once we let go of whoever we think we are and allow God to use us, it always ends up being better than we thought. That's what the homie told me. Like, yeah, what you said was tight, but it wasn't God tight. Nothing's tighter than God tight. And we are co-creating directly with God. Reverend Michael Beckwith messed me up when he broke down the acronym, the ego, and he said, edging God out. That's your partner. Don't edge God out. It's going to be way tighter when we work with God. Let it go. Thank you, everyone, for saying that. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you. My heart was not as light as it is right now. I was holding on to, why can't people know not to, and this is what triggers me, and so? So? Ain't it crazy we all talking about gun control, but everybody gets triggered so easily? Stop getting triggered. Let it go, whoever you are, just let it go. We're all doing our best anyway. And I have to say this to me because I know I'm always doing my best. Oftentimes it may not be what people think it should be, and yet I want people to understand. But then when it's my turn to understand people's best, I don't want to do it. I don't. And that's why I love this community. That's why I love it. Because hearing all of you talk, it's like, wait a minute. What if I just let it go? What if I just trusted God in this moment? What if I did that? This was a great topic. My grandmother talks about how the biggest news channels and the biggest news publications never say anything positive, because positive news just, that doesn't really sell anything. And for a while, the theme in my mind was, well, just avoid the news. And, now I'm realizing instead of doing that, I can look at whatever's going on in the news and I can affirm that God is all there is. I can let go of what I feel it needs to look like. It is the 15-minute mark. I just want to make sure that Ronnie and Fahimi, if you have anything to say, we definitely want to hear from you. And if you're here just to listen, that's okay too. I really love what everyone had to say though, and the questions that were asked. I love how when we come together, how beautiful it just flows and we sharpen each other. That's family, that's community. And it shows regardless of what the air is like or whatever's going on, we can use technology to our advantage. Like we're gonna come together. We're gonna have church. We're gonna love on each other. And look at how personal we just got. People sharing just things about their lives right now. Look at faces that some of you may not have seen before. And we just touch each other. I love that.
I used to attend 12-step meetings, and I still do, of course. But when people would say that they wouldn't give anything for their journey, I had a real hard time believing that. But today I can say I would not give anything for my journey, that it brought me to this space. I want you to know my relationship with my higher power. This life is so sweet. I didn't know it got this good. I didn't know it got this good. I could not have imagined the sweetness of my days till I did what you started us talking about, let it go. Till I was willing to just say, okay, God, take this. Take this, ooh. As you say, people who raised in the Bible, that scripture that says cry aloud. I was crying aloud. Take it. So I didn't expect I would get there, but I got there. And it's sweet now. It's really sweet. I'm really glad to discover you guys. Thank you for inviting me here. Yeah. I am so grateful to be here today. Thank you for being here.
I think it's really funny. One of my prayers lately, and since I've started saying this, my problems have stopped being so big. But I actually said, thank you for my obstacles and opportunities. And none of my problems is as big as they were. Or like I said, 99% of what I feared doesn't even happen.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a really wise man who worked with me at Wells Fargo. And I was having a tough day. And he just said, don't take life seriously. You're not going to survive it anyway.
Or no one gets out of it alive.
Oh. And I mean, if we think about it, life is the ultimate tragedy anyway. You were comfortable, everything she ate went to you first. You were warm. You didn't have to learn it. I mean, come on, you were as close to your mom as you ever could be. And then one day you got to come into this cold world where you discover gravity and tying your own shoes and bullies and school lunches that are gross. And you know what I mean? Like, we got the hard part done already. All this other, come on now. None of this is nothing compared to the fact that we actually had to come out into the world and learn this world. That was already the tragedy. We got the hardest part done. My Uncle Mawata said you outswam millions of sperm to be here. Millions. And they also say the ovum actually chooses which sperm it actually wants to fertilize. So not only did you swim a marathon, but you had to give one hell of an interview once you got there. Let it go. You already at the All-Star game. You're a champion. Let it go. Champions don't fight every single battle. Does Michael Jordan have time to challenge everybody to a basketball game who tells him his game ain't nothing? He would laugh in my face if I told him that. I'd probably get a free pair of Jordans. Bosses let it go. Champions let it go. Tyler, the Creator, is one of my favorite rappers. When he first came out, everybody, I don't really like him because he disrespects God too much. You can't disrespect God. Are you serious? The fact that your heart is beating is a compliment. You can't disrespect God. I think God is over here like, you disrespected me, Tyler, so we got beef on the mixtape. No. When we are at God frequency, everything is sweet, everything is beautiful, everything is an extension of you, even the thing that is trying to be your opposition. When we are at God level, everything is you. That's why we get to let it go. It's like when my son says something that hurts my feelings, that's me talking to me. He's only saying the insecurities what I was already thinking anyway. We know kids that are close to God. If he tells me, your breath stinks, Baba, because I knew my breath stink and he picked up on it. Let it go. That's right. God ain't out here dropping diss tracks. We don't want any smoke with that anyway. Battle God on the mic. That will be kind of fun. I did meet Rakim. That's about the closest to meeting God I've met. Morgan Freeman is next.
I met Morgan Freeman. I would take him off your list. I would. He says I've only seen him in very limited context, and he's always saying something very problematic during that period around Black people or women. So I would take him off your list.
He's like, we should have been happy to drive, Miss Dizzy.
Pretty much.
That was recorded. You might find me like, what's up now, brother Luchan?
Morgan Freeman gonna come after me for things I heard him say walking past me on the desk or like in the elevator. That's what it is. I was in the elevator with him once and he walked past my desk when I worked at an agency, and both times he was saying something problematic.
All right. Well, we get to let that go then.
Yeah.
So not easy, right? That's the funny part about forgiveness. It's like, I want to be forgiven for the out-of-pocket things I've said at time and done, but then it's like, then I get to forgive. It's like that, wait a minute, why I gotta, can't you just forgive me? Why I gotta forgive? I say it as much as I can. I am still mad at Tom Brady. I'm a Raider fan. I'm still mad at him for the tuck rule. He doesn't even play for that team anymore. Can't even enjoy football all the way because you hold on to stuff. That's why I love this. Let it go. Life is so much sweeter when we just let shit go. Life is so much sweeter that way. My grandmother, there's been times where she has lost her credit card, lost checks, lost all, and I'm freaking out. And she's just, no, I ain't gonna do that. No, I'm not gonna cancel the check. Grandma, you gotta cancel all your card. She doesn't ever do it. And it always ends up being a positive experience, always. I remember I was angry about something that happened. My best friend, who didn't even grow up in this philosophy or church, was just like, look, homie, it's only money. And at that time, that was not the thing to say to me. Wait, it's only what? That hold still right quick. Huh? And since I've been doing, I did the 40-day prosperity with you, Reverend Carey, and then I started tithing a lot better, a lot more on point. And he is right. It is only money. Nothing is opposition. Nothing. Everything is an extension of you. Are literally the center of your universe. The universe has no ends. Forever and ever expanding. That means right where you sit, you are the center of your universe. Everything is for you. I'm only saying this so y'all can remind me if I ever have me a crisis moment where I'm cussing and screaming and crying, because, I'm not even going to sit here in front. Like in the moment, I'll always know this. I know it, subconsciously, sure. But in the moment, we get to have human moments. We all got to have our consciousness checked in the middle of rush hour traffic. Let's just not lie. All of us say the most out-of-pocket stuff during rush hour. We all do. Somebody get cut off when they're in a rush. You're going to go there. Very few people have that skill. Not at all, Dre. Never.
No, I'm dead serious. I always say, God bless you. And I keep it moving.
Good. It's good.
I used to commute between Berkeley and San Jose. And I felt that there were 9 million cars in the Bay Area, and I knew them all. And I knew the drivers individually. I was getting road rage. Like you would not believe. Yeah, just like that. And someone cut me off one day, and I was starting to get angry, and thank you, God. It came to me, you've done that. You know what? Cut people off. And then it occurred to me, every time I am on the freeway and someone does something that I think is out of pocket, I think of the most outrageous thing that I have done on the freeway. And as a beginner driver, the most outrageous thing, and I have done some outrageous things. I backed off a freeway exit, stone cold sober, because I was stupid, okay? I backed it off, and it wasn't until I got down and I was like, that didn't make any sense. As so long as they're not doing that in front of me, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say because I've done some stupid stuff driving. I try to remember, you've done some crazy stuff. Give people a break. Thank you, God, nothing happened to me on the freeway that was out of line. But I cut people off. I've done that. And I've done something even more crazy. I shared it with my dad. praise God, he was in recovery of alcoholism. And of course, he could one up me anytime I started talking about what I had done driving. He told me he came to backwards in ice plants on an off ramp. That's when he came out of it. So, and he lived to tell that, thank you, God. So, just a thing to help you let it go. Think of the craziest thing you've done on the freeway. That person will look like a saint to you.
Shout out to Kevin. How you doing, my friend?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at that handsome face.
Oh, yeah. Good to see you, my friend.
You too, my friend. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something with everybody. In 2020, I almost died. I was in ICU for a couple of months, and I was coming out of a coma. Sorry, I'm driving. I shouldn't be, but I am. And I was coming out of a coma, and I was starting to, figure out what was going on and stuff. And my wife was in the room. This is during the COVID lockdown when it first happened. So there's nobody in the hospital except for my wife as a visitor, because nobody was allowed to visit. But I threw such a fit about it, not because they weren't going to let her in. Now they finally made, they let her in, because it's like I didn't have anything else to support me. And we were sitting there, and all of a sudden this tall gentleman, this black fellow, handsome guy, he appears kind of just out of the wall inside my room. And he was standing there, and he had pink scrubs on, and kind of, when he walks, he's kind of floating, and he walks over to the computer, and he's tapping on it, and he's looking at me and having this conversation of just everything in the whole world all at once without saying a word. And my wife, she sees him too, but she's kind of like frozen. So she can't really move or anything. She just sees him, and it's all happening. And I mean, I wouldn't even believe it happened because I was on so many drugs and coming out of a coma. But my wife was there as a witness. And he shared with me, just, I can't even tell you how many things, basic messages, forgiveness and love is what's going to save every single person. And he was on the computer, leaves, and the wife kind of snaps out of it, jumps up and like runs out to the nurse's station, which was only about 15 feet away from me, from my room. And she says, "Hey, who's this nurse that was just in here? He was, wearing pink scrubs. Who is this guy?" And they were all looked at each other, and there's nobody here of that description. And they searched the hospital from top to bottom, from the rooftop to the basement. They didn't find anybody of this description. Yeah, I just wanted to share with everybody that there is another world. It's a spirit world. And me just live in their world.
Yes.
And I pray every day since that day. And wow. I thank whoever it is. I thank that entity, for whatever he did. It was a pretty amazing experience. I can't even begin to really, because words just really can't really explain it to the detail,
Yes.
But looking in his eyes and listening to all these things, it was amazing.
Thank you.
I'm a changed person.
I love you,
If
bro.
anybody has any doubts, they should just really check themselves out, because if you listen to yourself deep enough, it'll come back at you. It'll help.
Love you. Thank you for sharing that, man. Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you, Luchan. I'm glad you've been a part of my life. And, I hope you always will be.
course.
We've had many experiences together. Just really wanted to share that with people.
Yes.
Call it what you want, an angel, a guardian angel, God, whoever. If you want to put labels on it to help yourself understand, please do. I can't put labels on it because I experienced it.
Right.
And like I said, the message everybody should give should really, and I have to work on it every day. Forgiveness and love, no matter who it is. It's hard. It is the hardest walk of life, forgiveness. But I know forgiveness is the most rewarding out of everything in life.
Come on now. Thank you. I don't mean to cut you off, bro. Let me just get this out right fast. We are only 2 subscribers away from becoming youtube.com Spirit Uncensored. Very important. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Don't front like we did not have some amazing connections today. We need to continue this. That if my brother Kev, the way he's talking right now, I'm about to cry as soon as we get off this call. This is what Spirit Uncensored does, y'all. We have breakthroughs on here, and people love sharing them. Once again, we are a spiritual community, a nonprofit organization. In the chat, you can go to spirituncensored.org and /donate. Please come donate. We just, whatever you give goes to making this beautiful ministry, this beautiful community of ours grow. And as you can see, it is very much needed. We end at 6 on the dot usually, but we have had some real church. We got that Baptist roots whenever I talk. So we're going to go over church just a little. Pastor going to talk just a little bit more. No, talk about. So it is 6:03. And look, I'm about to pray us out, y'all. I'm about to pray us out. And every Wednesday, this is what we do. It's called Spirit Uncensored for a reason. Talk as freely as you like here. This is what we do. We welcome all languages, all walks of life. And here we go. There is only one life, one mind, one heartbeat. It is known by many names. It is the life of everybody on this call, the life of everybody not on this call, because God is just that abundant. And so when this perfect life of God, of the universe, of energy, I, Luchan Baker, am giving thanks for all that was said today, all that was not said, knowing that God hears everything, and the answer is always yes. So we celebrate that yes. We hold it up knowing that it is always there, and anything else that is not of the yes, we let it go right now in this moment. I let go of all doubt. I let go of all concern. I let go of the reason to ask that word, why? God has got it. For this and so much more, I give thanks. I let go. And so it is.
And so it is.
I love y'all. Tune back in next week. We have some really awesome speakers that are part of this. I am on the 4th Wednesday of every month. Peace and blessings, y'all. I love y'all dearly.
Love you too, man.
Love you.